Hey, house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 24 updates and spoilers. Happy Saturday. Hope you're all having a great day so far. Our house guests of the day are Holly Noel and Callie Foster. Thank you both so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. It's only $1 for a holla. And I also want to thank yesterday's super chatters before we get started, because that is another fantastic way to support our channel and our work here. So Jefferson Tucker, Sean Davis, Kenny D, Child of God, Andres Lambaria, John S, K Diggs 2, Norm the Cat, and AR Chan 1785. Thank you all so much for your super chats. Oh my goodness, what a day, what a day. Yes, I'm gonna go out of order and just say Michael won the power veto. Veto King. Oh my God. So we'll get there, but it's very exciting. I mean, the feeds just came back from the competition a few minutes ago, so. But let's talk about what happened all before that. When we left off yesterday, I'm sorry, I'm very giddy and very excited. So when we left off yesterday, Jasmine, the HOH, on her crutches, was preparing to make her nominations. So leading up to that, Pooch came up with a plan that he's been pushing hard. Pooch volunteered to go up as a pawn this week, and he wanted to be nominated next to Brittany with the end goal of getting Taylor backdoored this week. So what Pooch didn't realize is that a lot of the house guests already wanted to target Pooch and are seeing this as an opportunity to just vote Pooch out. So if you look at the votes, you need 6 votes to tie this week and 7 to evict. So it was looking like the votes against Pooch would be Alyssa, Amira, Indy, Brittany, Michael, Nicole, and Daniel. That's 7. That's all it takes. So not even a tie necessary if that group all pulls through. But just to go over the reasons. A lot of people feel like Pooch is all over the place. He's trying to make deals with everyone. He's not trustworthy. He's in with all those big dudes, and he's talked a lot about wanting to target the women and Michael. So a lot of people are not happy with him. So going into this week, Jasmine was all about getting rid of Taylor, but she's realizing with the influence of Amira, Alyssa, and Michael, this is an opportunity that may be too good to pass up. Pooch is offering himself up on a silver platter. Are you really going to deny that? Especially when you're hearing that Taylor wants to work with the women. Why get rid of an ally when you can get rid of Pooch? So, Jasmine's trying to figure out who is she going to put up on the block next to Pooch. She does not want to put Brittany up. She doesn't want to go with Pooch's plan because she feels like Brittany needs a break after last week. She had a hard week, okay? She was really stressed about the whole backstage twist. She got really emotional about it, apparently. I think she probably got even more upset and like we didn't see it while the feeds were down that day before. So I think this is also kind of just a break for everyone else because they don't want to deal with an emotional Brittany this week, especially if she is not going. So, yeah, it seemed like Jasmine was leaning towards putting Taylor up next to Pooch. And depending on what happens with the POV, it seems like if Pooch were to stay up on the block, he would be going. But if Pooch were to win the power veto, they might just vote out Taylor, instead of going for a bigger target. Okay. So anyway, Jasmine was doing all of her pre-nominations one-on-ones. She's talking to Taylor in the HOH room, and Jasmine was doing the most with this. She set it up so that Alyssa would come into the room after 8 minutes so that she wouldn't have to talk to Taylor for too long. Really? Like, you had to have somebody come and rescue you from Taylor? It's a little bit ridiculous. But Jasmine asked Taylor, how are you feeling? And Taylor says, well, I prefer not to be a pawn, but I wouldn't be shocked if I do end up being a pawn this week. So Jasmine kind of gives it away with her face that, yes, Taylor will be going up on the block, and Taylor kind of like laughs about it with her. So Jasmine's asking Taylor, who would you put up if you win HOH? And Taylor says, well, I can tell you this, I wouldn't put any of the girls up. And Jasmine's like, all right, cool. I just want to let you know it makes sense for me to use you as a pawn this week because of like everything that went down last week. But she says, I need you to understand you are not the target this week. I need to take someone out that's a big threat to the girls. So Taylor's like, cool. But what happens if your target ends up winning the power of veto? It's a valid question. And Jasmine says, well, then I would have to put up somebody who will be a bigger target, you know, so that you'll be saying. In reality, at that time at least, Jasmine was probably like just going to put up a pawn and Taylor would become the new target. But I feel like Amira, Michael, and Alyssa would definitely try and convince her, and even Nicole too. I think Nicole would try and convince her to go after a bigger target and keep Taylor around. So it's not 100% certain that Taylor would become the new target. But anyway, Jasmine says to Taylor, I need you to go hard for this power veto. I'm counting on you and a lot of other people for this plan to work. So Taylor's like, okay, cool. Again, who's your target? And Jasmine doesn't reveal the name at first, but says it is a guy. So then Alyssa comes in and interrupts the conversation. I believe it was earlier than scheduled. But now that Alyssa's in there, Jasmine does spill to Taylor that Pooch is the target. Oh, okay. So a little later, Jasmine chats with Michael. It's just a very quick conversation. And Jasmine confirms she is putting Pooch and Taylor up on the block. And she tells Michael, if I get House Guest Choice in the POV player draw, I want to pick you to play. And if you win, I want you to use the POV on Taylor. And she says, this will make sense because you're not working with the guys. So, you know, you can get away with something like that. So Jasmine says, we need to get Pooch out of here. That is the goal. And Michael says he is 100% on board with that. Okay, so then Pooch comes in next to talk to Jasmine. But before we get to that conversation, let's rewind a little bit so we can get some context here. About 20 minutes before this, Pooch was talking to Joe and Daniel at the Tiki Bar. And I just want to say, throughout these one-on-ones that Jasmine has been having, Jasmine has been careful not to reveal the plan this week to take out Pooch to Turner or to Joe. However, Joe does have some tea to spill that Pooch was not expecting. So Pooch finds out that Jasmine is planning on putting Taylor up next to him. And Pooch is like, no, she needs to be backdoored. If Jasmine puts up Taylor, I'm going to be effing pissed. Because he's afraid of Taylor. He's afraid Taylor could win the power veto, and then he's going to be sitting up there, and who knows if he's going to be safe. So, I mean, he's not going to be safe against Taylor either, but whatever. So Joe says, oh, Jasmine doesn't want to put up Brittany as one of the initial nominees because, like, she had a hard week last week. And Pooch is like, well, she wasn't even up on the block. Like, what? So then Joe was saying, yeah, but, you know, Jasmine was saying if Taylor wins the power veto, then Brittany will be the replacement nominee, and you're not going to go home against Brittany. Are you sure about that? So Pooch is nervous, but Joe and Daniel tell him you're going to have all the boys backing you up. You don't have to worry. So Joe says, you're doing the house a favor by going up as a pawn. And Pooch says, yeah, so since I'm doing everyone a favor, I thought that Jasmine would do it the way that I wanted, meaning to go up against Brittany. I gotta say, Angry Pooch really reminds me of Billy Zane's character in Titanic with like the slicked back hair and like the entitlement and the anger. I'm just getting those vibes. But anyway, let's get back to Pooch and Jasmine in the HOH. Now that Pooch has this information, so Jasmine says, I just told Taylor that she's going to be going up on the block. And Pooch says, I'm nervous that Taylor is going to win the power veto. And Jasmine's like, don't worry. I have people in place that would pull you off the block. And that's not a lie, because Jasmine has been telling all those bros, look, I get it. if you win the power of veto, you should use it on Pooch, because I don't want you to like mess up your game for my plan. So if you win, you can use it on Pooch, and then Taylor will just become the new target. So that's not a lie. But Jasmine implies if Taylor does come down off the block, then Brittany would be the replacement nominee and the new target. I mean, even if she went up, she would not be the new target. So Jasmine says, I just want to make sure that the house is happy at the end of the day. I appreciate you for volunteering to go up. That's really awesome. You have a lot of people on your side. He also has a lot of people not on his side. So Pooch says, if I get House Guest Choice, who should I pick to play? And Jasmine says, I mean, you know, any of the guys. You pick Monty, Turner, Joe, they're all going to go to bat for you. So Pooch is like, okay, cool. Well, I want to make sure that Taylor feels safe so that she won't go hard for the power of veto. Okay. So then Jasmine has a quick check-in with Kyle. And Jasmine is like, Kyle, I'm trusting you. I just want to make sure that you are on board to vote out Pooch, whether he's up against Taylor or Brittany. And Kyle confirms, yes, he will be voting for Pooch to go. So Jasmine says, again, if you win the power of veto, you should probably just use it on Pooch to save face with him. I don't want you to mess up your game. In that scenario, Taylor would be leaving. So Kyle's like, yeah, I'll do whatever you want. I don't want to be tied to Pooch if the whole house wants him out. You know, I don't want to be associated with him. So Kyle also mentions he wants to continue working with Jasmine moving forward, and she agrees. Okay, so then it's finally time for the nomination ceremony, and as planned, Jasmine put up Taylor and Pooch. So I also want to note, during that time that the feeds were down, Big Brother gave Jasmine the Christmas scooter. Remember the one when she broke her foot and she was all like, squeak, squeak? Yeah, she has a scooter now to help her get around easier. Good, because she was really struggling with those crutches. I don't know if they were like too tall or what, but I feel like it wasn't ideal crutch use. I don't know. So anyway, hopefully she'll be able to get around easier now. Okay, so then Pooch was chatting with Turner in the bathroom, and Pooch is like, we gotta beat Taylor in this POV competition. We cannot let her win. So Turner is reassuring Pooch, you're gonna be fine, even if Taylor wins the power veto, because Brittany will go up and we will vote her out. So then Pooch says, I'm pissed that Jasmine did what's best for her game. She's the HOH this week, so I think that she can make decisions for her own game. But Pooch is like, it would have been better for everyone's game if Brittany went up with me. Would it have been better for Brittany's game? Would it have been better for the HOH's game? Like, I don't know. I think you might be a little biased in that, but okay. So Terrence joins them, and Pooch says, we need to get rid of Taylor, or else she's just going to keep going on the block, like, over and over again, and that sucks. Like, why put somebody through that? Like, let's just take her out now. And Turner's like, yeah, it's like putting a little puppy out of its misery. What a freaking weirdo. And that's not the first time that I've heard Turner say that. It's very disturbing. But anyway, Pooch says, the only way that I could F myself this week is if I start doing some outlandish shit. I mean, I don't know. I think it's pretty outlandish to, like, beg to go up on the block, but that's just my opinion. So, yeah, he's like, I just can't be getting crazy while I'm on the block. I would somehow have to piss off the entire house and get them to all go against me. He says, I need to be calm, cool, and collected while I'm up on the block. We'll see. All right, so later, Taylor's alone in the golf bedroom, and she's talking to the cameras, and she's kind of nervous. What if everybody's playing me? You know, they're saying that I'm the pawn. They're saying they have my back. They're going to vote for me to stay. But she says she's going to be devastated if the girls are setting her up here. So Taylor says, I got to win this power veto. Bottom line. She gets why she's being used as a pawn this week. She has to earn the girls' trust. But she says she wants the girls to go far. Oh, yes, please like the video. It makes me smile. Okay. So Taylor is pumping herself up for this POV. She says, Pooch is leaving the building. I'm not sitting on the block after that POV competition. That medallion is going around my neck. So then Taylor starts talking about how she wants to target Monty moving forward. But she says, I gotta wait for the right time to do that. Monty just keeps things way too close to his chest. They had the drama last week. And, Monty found out that he's the one that messed that whole thing up. He twisted Taylor's words, but he hasn't done anything to try and make it up to her. So Taylor says, Monty is either with me or against me. And after last week, he's clearly against me. Girl, you don't even know. You don't even know. Okay. So then later, Michael and Brittany chat with Taylor in the golf bedroom. And they're assuring Taylor, you have our votes this week. We've got you. Do not worry. But Taylor is like, it's even better if I'm just not on the block anymore on Thursday. So she's talking about how she wants to win that power veto. She's saying she would love to see Jasmine put up an even bigger target if she comes down. So, what if Monty goes up as a replacement nominee? We take him out. One step at a time. I feel like we should be grateful that we would potentially be getting a Pooch eviction out of Jasmine's HOH when she has been talking nonstop about how she wants Taylor out. But, yeah, Taylor is putting it out there, and she's been saying it to quite a few people that she wants to target Monty. Be careful with that, especially when you're on the block right now. So Michael says to Taylor, if you get house guest choice, just know, I'm down to play. I can't say for sure if I would use it on you or not. But my main objective here is to make sure that Pooch does not win the power veto. Pooch needs to stay up on the block so we can vote him out. Even if you're up against him, we have the votes to keep you safe. So Taylor's like, cool, let me sleep on it. We'll see what happens. All right. So that's all great. And then this morning, Operation Evict Pooch is in danger. At some point, Amira let it slip to Monty that Taylor is saying she wants to target him. Oh, no. So with this information, Monty is now trying to pump the brakes on the plan to evict Pooch and send out Taylor instead. So before, I will say, Monty was not 100% on board with getting rid of Pooch, but he was talking to Jasmine as if he was okay with it as long as he didn't have to be one of the votes for Pooch to go. So, okay, Monty's talking to Kyle this morning, and Monty is saying, you know what, Pooch, he shows us his cards. We know what he's going to do. Yeah, we know he's going to target the girls and Michael. Boo. So Kyle is like, yeah, I think on the other hand, Taylor is going to rally all the girls to work together and take out the big guys. And we can't have that. So they're talking about wanting to get the Bleep Alliance together, the Bleep Alliance, formerly known as Mamba. And they want to discuss all of this because Monty is really confused why Amira would want to keep Taylor when Taylor is saying that she would target Monty. I feel like Amira really upped up here. So anyway, we're going to come back to that, but they have the Power Veto player draw, and the players are Jasmine, the HOH, the two nominees, Taylor and Pooch, and three extras, Michael, Terrence, and Amira. So if you look at this lineup, it seems like Pooch would probably stay on the block unless he wins the power veto himself. None of his close dudes are playing in this competition. So the question now becomes, if Pooch is to stay on the block, are the votes still going to be there to take him out? Now that Monty is I don't know. So a little later, Monty is in the storage room with Nicole and Amira, and he is expressing his concerns. So first of all, he's like, all right, Kyle and I are going to have to vote for Pooch to stay no matter what, to save face with Turner and Joe. Because if we vote Pooch out, we're going to lose Turner and Joe. They're going to be like, what the F? Why are you not sticking with the boys? We need to make it look like we got blindsided just like them so that we can still, be in their ears, find out what their plans are. We can still kind of work with them. So Nicole and Amira are like, yeah, that's fine. That makes sense. You do what you got to do. We still have the votes without that. So then Monty's like, though, do we feel comfortable that if Taylor were to win HOH next week, that she wouldn't put 2 of our alliance members up on the block? I mean, we know what Pooch would do, but do we know what Taylor would do? And Nicole's like, listen, Nicole does not want to hear any of this bullshit right now. Nicole is like, we have the numbers to take out Pooch right now. We need to do this while we still can. And Taylor would listen to what I tell her if she wins the power veto next week. Taylor is looking for people to work with. She will listen. So Monty's like, all right, well, Amira, didn't you tell me that Taylor wants to backdoor me? And Amira's like, yeah. And Monty says, that should be reason enough for us to get rid of her. She's coming after me. So then they're like, okay, if you're so worried, Monty, about Taylor winning HOH, why don't you win HOH next week? You're not even trying. Apparently, it was pretty obvious that Monty threw this week's HOH competition, and the girls were not happy about it. So Monty's like, I did try. Did you? Okay. So Nicole and Amira are pushing. They're not worried about Taylor. They feel like they can get Taylor to target Turner, and they're telling Monty, you're overthinking it. You're going to drive yourself crazy. So things start to get pretty tense, but because they don't want anyone to hear them arguing, it's like a whisper argument. It's like, where it's really punctuated. So Nicole and Amira are talking about how Pooch is targeting all of the strong women and Michael. And Michael's in their alliance. Nicole and Amira consider themselves strong women, which they do. And Pooch has talked about targeting at least Amira. So, yeah, they're like, he's a threat to us, too. Like, what the hell? So Monty's like, yeah, but we can be prepared with Pooch. We don't know what Taylor would do. And he's arguing that Pooch would not put 2 of their alliance members up on the block because Pooch has mentioned wanting to take out Indy and Brittany. So maybe one of them would be up on the block with an alliance member. But he's like, Taylor, she might put up 2 of us guys. So they're going back and forth. Both sides are clearly getting frustrated with each other. And eventually they're trying to placate Monty by telling him, look, if we get rid of Pooch this week, then Taylor can go next week. So something tells me we're going to be hearing this debate all week, depending on what happens with the power veto. If the nominees change, then maybe we won't be hearing this debate anymore. But anyway, the fees went down for the power veto competition. The players, again, we've got Taylor and Pooch, the 2 nominees, and then 3 extra players, Michael, Terrence, and Amira. Maybe Jasmine. I feel like Jasmine might have sat this one out. Big Brother told her you can choose to compete or not, depending on the competition. If it's physical, might be a good idea to sit it out. So I think she might have ended up sitting this one out, but I'm not totally sure. She did also say that she's going to be getting an X-ray, and she's excited that she won't have to go to the hospital for it. They have those what's it called? I don't know. You can get an X-ray. It's like a portable X-ray machine. So I guess they're going to be bringing that to the house, and they're going to be taking a look at her ankle. So she might be getting a boot or a cast. We'll see what happens. But anyway, let's talk about the POV. Guess what? If you weren't here for the beginning of the spoiler, Michael won the power of veto. Oh my God! The first 2 vetoes. He is the veto king. I'm really excited for him, but I'm also hoping this is not going to put a huge target on his back. So we'll see what happens. I know he is fully on board with the plan to take out Pooch this week. There's no way he's taking Pooch off the block, but I don't know if he's going to take Taylor off to protect her, especially now that Monty is like, what are we doing here? Or if they're going to leave the nominations the same. I don't know. But it's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of back and forth leading up to this POV ceremony. on Monday. So what do you guys think is going to happen? Leave it in the comments. Hi!
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Well, we said, go Michael.
Chloe, you're so excited for Michael.
He's a Michael fan.
Yeah. I'm really curious what Jasmine will ask Michael to do with the veto, because I'm sure it's going to get back to her that Monty is not happy about this move anymore. So, like,
Maybe they
is
should
she-
put Monty up.
yeah, right. Maybe Taylor's dream will come true. No. Is Jasmine going to ask Michael to use the veto on Taylor just to make sure that Pooch goes? I don't know.
Who would they put up?
Do they all want to make
against
waves
Pooch
that soon?
to make sure that Pooch goes?
I don't know. Maybe like Terrence or something? I don't know.
I think you have to put up one of Pooch's allies to take away the
Well, like,
vote.
she could just put up Turner, right?
Yeah.
She could put up Turner. That would be lit. All right. So
really
lit. So I want to thank all of our super chatters because you guys are amazing. We couldn't do this without you. So Andres Lambaria, thank you so much. And Andres says Brittany, Taylor, and Michael. I'm assuming that's who you're rooting for, right? I'm a fan as well. Don MH. Oh, thank you for your super chat. Don MH302. Thank you so much for the super chat. Ian Caballo, thank you so much. And Ian says, I'm going to be a wall yeller for Michael to save Taylor. Joking for legal reasons. Also shipping Pooch and Joseph.
Yes.
Next, Zanky. Either way, get him out. Yeah, what's going on? I feel like I've seen a lot more touchy-feeliness from Pooch. I don't know.
Dynamic tension.
I guess. I don't know. He's all over these guys. If he's into it, good for him. I think that's awesome. But I don't know.
Man.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a muscle fan. I don't know what's going on there. Sean Davis, thank you so much for the super chat. And Sean says, Michael and Nicole are covering all bases and came to play. Right? I'm enjoying that. Monty in the storage room was hilarious. He is really that scared. Lol. Yeah, seriously. He is terrified of Taylor. And it was funny because during the storage room thing, he brought up multiple times how Taylor brought some like BS to him last week or something. But he is the one that turned it into BS. Taylor was warning him, like, look, I'm looking out for you. You should probably talk to Paloma and clear things up. But he's the one that misinterpreted it and then caused a shitstorm. So anyway, yeah, he is terrified of Taylor, which is wild. Trisha C, thank you so much for the super chat. Vajrath, thank you so much for the super chat. And Vajrath says, my work schedule lately has been making it difficult to catch these live. Oh, but I'm glad to hear you're making some big steps in life. Thank you. Also, the recaps continue to be more entertaining than the actual BB. Thank you so much. Not quite, but thank you so much. You were very sweet, Vajrath. Jason M, thank you so much for the super chat. T of Texas, thank you so much. And Katie Samba, thank you so much for your super chat. That is a really fun name. Samba is actually one of my favorite ballroom Latin dances. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
Anyway, thank you all so much for being here. Just a reminder, I am taking Sundays off from the live spoilers this season for mental health and just because Sunday is Granny Day. But we will be recapping tomorrow night's episode, so check that out if you're interested. Oh, I gotta go. And I'll see you all on Monday for the spoiler as well. So until tomorrow night, much love. Bye, everybody. Bye.